Hello everyone and welcome to another higher photography video. This one's going to be about two things. It's going to be about symmetrical balance and asymmetrical balance. I'm sure I've spelled that wrong. The learning intention is to understand how symmetrical and asymmetrical balance can be used within photographs. Success criteria: understand how symmetrical or asymmetrical balance can be used to create interesting photographs. I'll show you some examples. Secondly, find examples of the use of symmetrical or asymmetrical balance within photographs. And then finally, take photographs that demonstrate the use of symmetrical or asymmetrical balance. So suppose the first question is, what is symmetrical balance? I'm sure that you will probably be able to guess what photographs would constitute photographs that are symmetrically balanced, but basically symmetry is achieved when both sides of the image hold equal weight. Each photograph is equally balanced if split down the middle, yet one is literally symmetrical and the other uses elements of composition that appear to be symmetrical. So there's a little bit of toing and froing which I'll explain. But symmetrical balance would basically meaning the sides are pretty similar. So if we look at this image of a book example, it's the same on both sides. This building is the same on both sides. The plane isn't really, but if we look at this bridge, it's pretty much the same on both sides. We can say it's symmetrical. Same with this image here. You can see it's used in architecture a lot, symmetry. This, we'd still say it's symmetrical despite little differences. Again, yep, completely symmetrical. You could create something in a landscape that shows symmetry. Various sort of space age, unusual image. You'll find it in nature a lot of the time, and you could use that within your images. Yeah, there's lots of examples. Here's one of a dog, which is fantastic. So asymmetrical balance. Now that's a little bit more tricky to explain. I'll do my best. But basically what we mean, asymmetrical balance, is a design that looks balanced. When I say a design, I mean a photograph. It looks balanced despite a lack of symmetry. So we're thinking about photographs that are not symmetrical, but appear to be balanced. And I'll show you some obvious examples to begin with. If you look at these photographs of forks, for example, you will see that obviously the image isn't symmetrical, but we have two forks in the image, and you could say it's balanced for that nature. The same as this photograph, the balance of yellow and red. Within this photograph here, you can see that the black, darker elements balance with the white and the grey elements. And it really is that simple. We're just talking about photographs that are balanced in other ways other than symmetry or represent balance. This is another obvious example. The photograph is not symmetrical, but it's been balanced in terms of subject matter and also the ratio of black and white within the image. Now, I promise to you, I'm not trying to be crass when I show you this image. I'm just trying to help illustrate in a really obvious way what I mean by asymmetrical balance. And this photograph does it in a crass way, but we get the idea. Obviously, it's not a completely symmetrical image, but the elements are balanced. I'm now going to show you some more examples that are a little bit more tricky to understand how they are balanced, but I'm sure you'll get it. So again, if we look at this image, I think this is an interesting image because there's a lot of balance within this photograph. It's not symmetrical, but the balance is almost in three sections, I feel, this image. We have like the dark blue, the sort of whites, and then the green tones, so we don't have to think of, but asymmetrical balance is just like symmetry, two parts. It can be more than two parts, and it's just a good thing that you can write in the exam. You can either look for symmetry or you can look for asymmetry, and you can get a mark as long as you're able to explain your answer. Reflections, like we see here, can be an example of symmetrical balance as well, because we can look at symmetry horizontally as well as vertically. However, in this image, we would probably say that this was asymmetrically balanced, slightly. And you can even look at, the different ratio that you have in images. If you look at this image, for example, again, it almost seems to be split into three, asymmetrically balanced. And we can see, we've got the dark tones, the tree, the bench, the trees in the background, the sort of pink coloured tones, and then the blue tones. And this really works well to create almost planar perspective. And when you start thinking about it, most images you could argue are asymmetrically balanced, because if you look at this image, you can see that the balance is between people occupying space and people not occupying space. So you can kind of make an argument for asymmetrical balance within most images, and balance is quite subjective. So as long as you can back up your answer, you could probably get a mark for it. And obviously, when you look at for your own examples, you'll see strong examples of asymmetrical balance. This is a great photograph. I think I've used this in other videos, but you can see obviously this is a very clear example of asymmetrical balance within an image. And black and white photography is a good way of showing this, and it's something that you might want to try within the activity. In previous lessons, you learn about the rule of thirds. And asymmetrical balance in photography is a little bit more complicated than symmetry, but you can think of it in the terms of rule of thirds. So it's this idea of an image is balanced because it's divided into three sections. So that's another way that you can think of it. So like in previous videos, I would like you to fill in this Google form. Make sure you put your name in it. And I've got an image for you to analyse. When you write your answer, can you please use the point example explain method? Because in the exam you won't get a mark unless you use that method. And then I'm looking for some research images and then some of your own, which so far have been outstanding. And I'm just going to leave you with another video. This is an interesting video on symmetry and asymmetry, so hopefully this explains it better than I have.